Hi traders, welcome back to this live currency strength indicator table video with me, John, on this Thursday, the 2nd of November. Obviously, we banked Aussie Swiss yesterday. Aussie Swiss does still remain on the tables as on the top of the sort of day traders table, so there could still be some move to the upside on that market, but we've banked that trade now. We might potentially look for another entry if the Oz strength can continue and the Swiss weakness can also continue. My focus has shifted slightly towards the yen pairs as well, and especially euro and kiwi. Kiwi definitely starting to show some form of strength. So the problem we've got is from a higher time frame perspective, it's still classed as a weak currency. So that's going to be something we're going to look at into today's video as well. But there's a couple of alerts I've set on euro Swiss and euro yen. I like the idea of these markets moving a little bit to the upside, but let's see what's on the slate today, because we do have a Bank of England interest rate decision at 12, and then we also have initial jobless claims out of the US at 12:30. So some more data coming up at 12 today. Pound was on the tables initially, did start to fall away. You can see here at 9 a.m. pound was there at S3 on both. That has faded now, and euro has taken over its place. So let's go to the charts and let's have a little look at what we were looking at today. This was Aussie Swiss. We ended up banking it. The overall target was 5,800. So I came out 5 pips or 4 or 5 pips shy of targets, just because it was a whole number. I like to sometimes jump out before we get to the whole number in case we do start to pull back. Aussie Swiss, like I said, remains top of the tables for a long opportunity, so it has continued. It's now into this area of resistance around about the 0 spot 58.25, which we also pointed out as a point that price may want to start to turn over. 4-hour time frame still bullish, hourly time frame still bullish. We're just testing the highs here. I would like a pullback towards the 50 MA again. That's how obviously we got into this trade, so I'm looking for something very similar again. Can we pull back? Can we get into an opportunity to get short once more? Like I said, euro is one to watch, and we're going to take a quick look at euro yen here. We obviously talked about euro yen the other day after price closed above this daily level of interest, which was the 159.94. We've closed above that now. We've had a bit of a pullback day. Is that yen weakness now going to continue? The dashboard isn't really showing us that the yen is weakening. If I just actually bring in the Discord channel here and we just go over to Pro Markets dashboard, the yen's not really highlighted as a sort of currency that's gaining momentum. Euro is, so maybe it's more of a euro push rather than a yen push at this current moment in time. So we've got that to consider, but still I think a breach back above that 50 MA there could be something good. If we look at the past of euro yen, obviously that's been a large range in market, but when we do start to see breaks above the 50 on a trending environment, we can often see price continue higher. So I like euro yen. I have set an alert on this market above the 50 MA currently, which is 159.80. I think if we get a close above 159.80, we could look to potentially go long. Stops below the 200 and look to target swing highs. But then the next sort of level of interest was all the way up at 166. If I just go onto the monthly time frame and I just zoom out a little bit, we'll see if we can get some data. Okay, we haven't got any data on this particular chart. Sorry, we do. There it is, 168.40. Sorry, I thought I was on dollar yen for a minute. That is the level of interest. So that is still 840 pips away. So imagine catching an 840 pip move with an 90 pip stop loss. That will be pretty outrageous. So everything's still pointing north here, looking for that close above the hourly 50 MA, and then there's a potential for us to trade that long. Another market was euro Swiss. So if we just go to the daily chart first, we can see that price breached trendline resistance, very similar to what's happening on Aussie Swiss, to be honest. We breached trendline resistance. We found support down here around about the 0 spot 94.25, these lows back on the 20th of October. We've had a bit of a pullback day. Sellers didn't really get too much involved. This green line here was the alert that we talked about in a previous video. So that alert has gone off now. And I'm looking to see, can we get the extension at least into the 0 spot 96.80, which were these highs that formed back on the end of September. So again, going down 8 hours in an uptrend. 4 hour has almost formed a bit of a double bottom at this 0 spot 95.65 handle. So is that a good sign that sellers aren't really taking over the market here and buyers are? Going down to the hourly, we can see that the crossover in the moving averages. Again, I just want to see, can price give us that opportunity of a close above the 50 MA? Look at this downtrend example here. When we get the close below the 50, price can then go with momentum there to the downside. Ideally as well, I'd like to see, it when prices come down below the 20 here on the stochastic, which we kind of have. So if we can break back above at this point and close above, I think that's going to be our long opportunity. Stops again can be either below the low or below the 200, targeting this area here at 96.80. I would prefer to probably put my stop loss just below the lows here in this particular scenario, just to give us a better reward to risk ratio. But yeah, I'm looking for the close above here. Let's say our alert goes off at 96.03 and it closes at 96.08 or whatever. We can look to long at 96.10. I think a 50 pip stop loss on this is absolutely fine. 50 pip stop loss at 96.10. And then we've got at least 70 to 80 pips up to the next level of resistance. So plenty of room to go to the upside, I feel, for Euro Swiss. Now, just flicking back over to the tables, we can see obviously the New Zealand dollar is getting stronger as well. I like the idea of a long on Kiwi, especially against the Swiss franc, possibly the yen, but I haven't dive too much into that at the moment, and also the US dollar, but I was watching to see how the sort of US dollar one developed here, and we've got data, initial jobless claims coming up, and we're nowhere near the averages basically, which is very similar to New Zealand Swiss. All the Swissy pairs looking pretty good. Obviously, we've already took advantage of Aussie Swiss. But if I'm just going to quickly break this down here, we can see that this is the weekly high, weekly lows being tested at the moment. We've breached through weekly trendline resistance. If I zoom out a little bit more, we may be able to look at a different type of trend line, which forms from the high back here on the 27th of the 3rd, and then forms on the or anchors at the 22nd of January. And yeah, you can see obviously that then spans out towards this high, so maybe we're going to see a move up into there. I did look down on the lower time frames to see if there was an opportunity for us, but I looked at the hourly and we're nowhere near the hourly moving average at the moment, so this is why I'm waiting a little bit. Quite like this 0 spot 53.20 area, so if I just pop a little bit of a zone in there for you, you can see around about 53, let's say 53.15, anywhere around that sort of zone there could be ideal for price to come into before we look for another long. Just from trend lines as well, you've got trend line support running through here as well, anchored formed on the low on the 26th, anchored on the 30th of October, and that area there is now starting to look really good for a potential long. So what I would like to see is price kind of come back down towards that level there, averages line up, we get a retest of the average, close above, and we'll start looking for long opportunities there. So I'm going to set an alert here, see if we can get that price pullback. So 53.12 is the pullback I'm looking for, and yeah, let's see what happens at that point there. But Euro Swiss is definitely, I think, one to watch. Just going to keep an eye on this hourly, see if we can get that close above. I think that's going to be the one to watch today. Euro Yen as well is definitely an ideal opportunity, I feel, especially for risk rewards. So I'll be keeping an eye on both of these markets, in particular Euro Swiss though, because obviously we've got that Swiss franc being the weakest currency at this current moment in time. So that's what I like to look for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Catch you in another one.